this Thursday is it, March the 12th. And that means majority Democrats are in the final push for the income tax bill. And I am told it will get a vote on the House floor today. This is Senate Bill 6346, the tax on income above $1 million at just shy of 10%, 9.9%. It's already passed the Senate. The version that passed the House on Friday, or I'm sorry, that was introduced in the House on Friday, offers a little bit more tax relief. Um, Not nearly as far as the governor said he wanted in this text to begin with, but now on Friday he came out and said, "I'm good with this. I'll sign this if this is the version that ultimately is reconciled and comes to his desk. He's ready to sign it." We're going to have some comments on that and some thoughts from Ryan Frost with the Washington Policy Center. All right, so let's dive in. Again, it's March the 9th. This could well be the day that the House of Representatives passes the income tax bill. We are watching for that. I'm told by Republicans that there are no fewer than 50 amendments. There were 96. When I left the House wings this morning, they were in caucus whittling down the 96 amendments to maybe 50 that'll be introduced on the House floor. So it's probably going to be very late day today, maybe into the hours of tomorrow morning when this bill passes off the House floor. Depends on what other legislation comes up as well. So it's a significant day in Olympia today for certain. But I got a chance to speak with Washington Policy Center's Ryan Frost about what Governor Ferguson said he wanted on the income tax bill initially and said he wouldn't sign unless it includes thus and such, versus what came out, the version that came out from the House Majority Party. And Representative April Byrd was the one to offer the legislation with some changes in it to offer a little bit more tax relief for small businesses. And it's nowhere near what Governor Ferguson initially said. If this isn't in it, I'm not going to sign it. So here's a bit of my conversation with Ryan Frost of Washington Policy Center.
That it's not even close to $1 billion, which is what he wanted to see in business rate tax relief. It's about 130 million, about 10%, it's about 9 times less than what he said he wanted in tax relief for businesses. So like there's intent in there about funding kids' free school lunches and breakfasts. That's in the intent. There's nothing in the bill that would do that. And so, there's these things, but I say all that to say, even in the intent bill section of the bill, there's nothing about the sales tax holidays. So this new striking amendment has completely ignored that, but again, somehow still supports it. And they've shut down every amendment put forth that would do either that or get rid of the emergency clause or tie it to $1 million. It's an emergency, so they can't be referendumed. And the reason they want to do that is because when it goes out on an initiative, you have to vote yes to repeal an income tax, which is the same game they played with the capital gains tax, which is why a lot of people voted wrong on that.
People
Is
get
you have to
confused,
vote,
don't they?
you have to vote, yeah, you have to vote backwards. You have to
If you
say
vote
it's a
yes or no.
yes. That's right. That's exactly right. And so in a referendum, it's opposite. You would vote no for no. If you don't want an income tax on a referendum, you'd say no. An initiative, it flips, and a lot of people unfortunately got confused. Even people I talked to today that are shocked to find out that they voted the wrong way on that capital gains tax. I think they're completely now enamored with that kind of little sneaky strategy that they figured out, where if we could just not make sure that these type of things can't be referendum and they have to go on an initiative, then enough people will vote the wrong way. So it's frustrating.
When Governor Ferguson came out Friday and said this version he'd be happy to sign, he did talk about the inclusion of some additional free lunch and breakfast for all Washington state students. Many school districts during COVID went to that model and have continued that, where, it's breakfast and lunch are provided, I say free, it's a taxpayer expense, covered meals. And nearly 500,000 Washington households would now be eligible for the working families tax credit to receive, tax credits, checks in the mail, as a result of this latest version of the income tax bill that is expected to come up on the House floor today. Um, it also exempts some over-the-counter medications from sales tax and puts some more money into the Fair Start for Kids accounts, which is used for childcare and early learning. So Ryan Frost at WPC was noting how Ferguson, is now back in this version that falls far short of what he initially said would have to be included, or he would not sign it.
I think the most telling statement, and you can go back and look at any of his press conferences over the last 3 months, was he wanted a majority of the revenue to go towards tax relief. I think he even put a number on it in a Seattle Times piece, which was 1.9 billion to go of the 3.5 they expect to raise every year to go towards tax relief. I added up the numbers from all the kind of, there's some fiscal notes on the old ones. There's been some Department of Revenue reports on some of the new ones that just came in this morning on some of the new additions. Even adding all that up, you're not even at half of the 1.9 billion, which means, maybe 25% of the revenue is going to go towards tax relief, which is a far cry from what he said was kind of his, I'm putting my foot down. That's what I want for tax relief for people.
Also notable that over the weekend, we had several big tech leaders with Microsoft and AI businesses that sent a letter to lawmakers urging them to put off a vote on the income tax bill. And we're going to put up for you part of what that letter indicated, basically saying, we've become a world leader in technology and innovation, due in part to the welcoming climate for innovators. As a result, we're now home to some of the most innovative people from across the planet. People from across the globe have enriched our innovative economy and community because our business climate welcomed companies that made our state a magnet for entrepreneurs. They strongly encouraged postponement of this vote on the income tax bill until next year. So, more pushback from big tech. You recall early on, we had Brad Smith with Microsoft coming out, against the income tax bill. Then a version was introduced that was going to give some, a tax relief, I guess, for some of the largest corporations in the state, with B&O tax relief sooner than was going to be originally offered. That's been removed in the House version that's come out. So since that's happened, you've had more big tech coming out in opposition to this bill. So we are watching for, again, Senate Bill 6346 likely to be coming to the House floor at some point Monday afternoon with 50 some odd Republican amendments. It's going to be a lengthy debate. I would imagine some heated final speeches on the House floor as well. So we'll be watching all of that.